Sometimes the most intelligent thing you could do is acknowledge you're an idiot.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
Hello friends and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily cringe content anywhere on the internet. Promise swearsies, it's just a fact and it's totally science. Go ahead, look it up. Thanks so much. We're diving back into This Is Why I Hate You, Reasons Why I Hate You, 10 Things I Hate About You. It's totally a rom-com, you guys, and it's written by Onision, so you know it's going to be just a terrible piece of schlock. At least it has been so far. The preface, awful. Chapters 1 through 4, awful. Maybe everything's going to turn around in chapter 5, although I don't think so, judging by just the title of the chapter. So let's get into it and have our brains melt just a little bit more today. Let's go! Chapter 5! Rejected and aroused. God damn it, dude. I don't know why I've subjected myself to this. Can we stop now? Can we just decide that that's enough? I guess not. These bills gotta get paid somehow. Thank you guys for helping me with it. Cold wisps of air filled my darkened, decaying school on my third day back. This place is so pathetic. I wondered if they ever planned on fixing anything. Are you going to go into a tirade about how our public schools are massively underfunded? No, probably not. That would require, like, you know, an adult view of the world. What would it take to get things repaired? A ceiling caving in on an entire class of students? Would that be enough? I mean, that's a big question. I'm not sure you want my legitimate answer. I'll just play like we're serious and give it to you anyways, okay? We have to stop foreign wars overseas. We have to defend our own borders and stop being policemen of the world. It might help if everybody paid their taxes, but even if we had the exact same amount of income, we could do massive things with it instead of funding all of these overseas shenanigans, right? Dismantle the CIA, FBI, probably the IRS too, and leave it up to states to tax individual corporations and billionaires in the ways they need to be taxed. But we're not looking for actual solutions here, right? We're just trying to complain some more. So let's do that. I enjoy that better too. Every other person at school has been looking at me nervously for the past few days. Yeah, 'cause you're so badass and cool. Today their looks could be in response to the fact that I painted half my face like a skeleton.
You're looking good and just got an awesome face paint job. What do you think?
I like turtles.
I bet it wasn't even Halloween. He's just like, I bet this is gonna make everybody think I'm super awesome. No, you're the weird kid. You're forever going to be the weird kid. It also could be that I wore the same trench coat I had on when I broke John's arm. I didn't even wash my own blood off of it yet. Gross. It could also be the silver tooth I got to replace the one that John knocked out of my face. Should I care why I've become a bigger outcast than I was before? Do any of their opinions or even their lives matter? Holy God, I'm having flashbacks. It's like that My Immortal chapter that was just like the same chapter pasted in again, except that's every single chapter. We get it. Nobody matters except me because I'm totally cool and yet outcasted by everyone. Because of our school's dress code, I was called into Principal Lehman's office in the middle of my first period class. Yeah, was the sun not even up yet? Because I'm... If I remember it correctly, you're going to school in Alaska, right? I was pretty sure it was my fat, pathetic excuse for a teacher, Mr. Hanson, who complained. Yeah, all the adults in this universe are just fat. I saw him mumbling on the phone just after I walked in. It must have been to the principal. Yes, hello, Mr. Principal. He's back. Yeah, the weird kid. Can you get him out of here? Principal Lehman was sitting firmly upright in his retro chair, staring at me as I walked into his office. He asked me to close the door, and so I did. Oh good, what a compliant little fellow you are. I went to stand in front of his desk, and he asked, "Are you a psychopath or something?" With a tightly bound facial expression, I replied, "A psychopath is someone who suffers from a mental disorder. I believe I'm rather sane. However, they also tend to express violent behavior, so I could be."
Principal Lehman didn't look happy with my answer. His lack of amusement didn't surprise me.
Oh, was that supposed to be an amusing answer? I'm sorry. I thought you were just spouting more edgy bullshit like you always do.
Lehman then said something that blew my fragile little mind. Your parents are religious. Your father in particular constantly judges every little thing you do. Your mom and him are extremely condescending and have little respect for what you say. You're expected to be their carbon copy, and when you say something they disagree with, they ignore you, or pretend you're evil for having shared your views. He stared at me, waiting for my response. Yeah, he's trying to crawl inside your head, walk around, make a connection with these kids. How can I reach these kids? No, I replied, automatically assuming I was lying. He said, no, I met kids like you 1,000 times. You're all the same.
Well, I see the principal also doesn't have third-dimensional thoughts, probably because he's written by the same person.
I replied again, no, my mom is dead. She was the only good thing about my home life. Principal Lehman paused awkwardly, looking to the side. I expected him to apologize or show some kind of remorse for not being sensitive about my mom being dead. He cut my train of thought in half.
So why's your face painted like it's Halloween? Cut that train of thought right in half. Teleported right behind it. I'm glad he didn't apologize. You know, author just uses that for sympathy.
Did he really just ignore the fact that I lost my mom? After all he said to me?
See, here we go. Little victim baby boy.
Arthur Lindfeld? He asked. My name is Arthur Gale, I replied. He smiled and said,
Arthur Lindfeld is the name on the paperwork in front of me. Arthur Lindfeld is your legal name. These papers also happen to be expulsion documents, and all I have to do is fill out an explanation for your expulsion and sign.
His words left no room for my normal attitude to flourish. He had my complete attention.
Oh no, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions.
Why do you have expulsion papers with my name on it? I asked.
Yeah, make sure to throw in something about how your mom's dead and he should feel really bad for you.
That's why you shouldn't expel me. He replied,
because you look like a psychopath. You act like a psychopath. And if I expel you the moment you do something I don't like again, I'm fairly sure I'll be saving the students at this school a lot of trouble. Do it. No more last chances. Let's make this thing happen today, right now.
We both knew what he was implying. I look like the kid that shoots up skis, especially the ones at Columbine.
I called that one out way ahead of time.
I would never kill people just because I don't like them. I imagine it every other day, but that doesn't mean I want it to happen.
Actually, that's exactly what it means. That's called premeditation, son.
I hated feeling like I was comparable to someone who would play a god with people who were no threat to anyone I cared about.
Oh yes, you and your staunch moral grandstanding, huh?
It's one thing to defend those you love. It's another to hurt someone for absolutely no reason aside from your desire alone.
Wasn't John's arm broken out of desire alone? Or you just made up some perceived slight, so you're like,
now I can finally do the thing I wanted to do.
And still, you're on your moral high horse. Do you have a barn big enough for a horse that high?
I felt a heavy sickness in my stomach and sat down in one of the 2 chairs facing Principal Lehman's piece of crap desk.
So, I think you get the point. You can leave.
Principal Lehman said, literally after I just sat down.
Yeah, get the hell out of here. You're a weird kid.
Get the out!
I don't want you in here no more. Really should have expelled him though.
I stood back up silently and left the room. Principal Lehman screamed after me,
and wipe off that makeup, kid!
I felt tears starting to form in my eyes. I know, it's pathetic, but I wasn't in control.
Yeah, you never are.
I'm used to being the strongest one in every room. Principal Lehman was bigger and louder and had more power at his fingertips than I had ever had in my entire body.
And then you're going to go into a thing about how you're actually a power bottom and it turned you on. That's why this chapter's called Rejected and Aroused, isn't it? I figured it all out. We probably don't even actually have to read it, so good night, everybody. No, I'm kidding.
As I walked into the bathroom, I looked in the mirror. My eyes were bloodshot, and I knew I was about to lose it. But I couldn't. I didn't want to allow my anger and sadness to conquer me.
Oh, come on, I thought you had no choice. You're not in control. Go ahead, rage out and blame it on Animal Planet or some shit.
It would cause me to rip apart the bathroom, and I knew I would get expelled.
All of a sudden, look how in control of things we are.
I had to remove the face paint, or I would no doubt also risk my expulsion. I was overwhelmed, but I had to swallow it all and bury it deep.
Oh yeah, swallow it like a good little girl. Oh.
I'm sorry, Jesus.
I'm going to jail! I'm just another moron.
Yep.
I'm just another victim of self-obsession. I wanted to be around my girlfriend, to protect her at ski.
Yeah, for being briefly stopped in the hallways and having to talk to a jock.
I wanted to graduate high ski. I didn't want to be some dropout loser with no future.
Yes, much better to be a high school graduate with no future. Up top.
All these thoughts burn through my mind as I begin to wipe the skeleton on my face off.
On my face off. The syntax is just terrible.
My emotions finally managed to push tears down my cheeks. The water-soaked brown paper towel was so useless and tacky for makeup removal. It's the little things in life that can make you snap.
I mean, he's a goth kid. He probably wears makeup a lot.
I can't do this with just a towel. I need my drunk elephant slime makeup melting butter cleanser from Sephora and a bunch of cotton balls.
You're gonna have to make do, son. I don't know what to tell you. It's either that or you snap and go in there to fight the principal, but you won't because no balls.
As a few tears fell, Chris from my first period class walked in. He immediately noticed me wiping my face. He smirked and scoffed.
That didn't last long.
I ignored him as I wiped the water and tears off my face. I didn't have the energy to imagine lopping his head off with a machete or throwing him off the top of the school roof onto the cement head first. I didn't have the energy to hate, only self-pity. So I stood there silently and kept wiping my face.
Well, you see here, son, it's because your humors are out of balance. We gotta get that self-pity and rage equal, and then balance it with the other two humors of ferocity and melancholy.
We'll get you balanced out yet, son.
But yeah, wipe that crap off your face.
I was almost completely done wiping the paint off by the time he came back out of the bathroom stall. He spoke to me saying,
Dude, not everyone's your enemy.
I ignored him and finished wiping my face.
Whatever, man. I'm on your side,
he said, obviously trying to befriend me. I replied under my breath, No, you're not. And I walked out.
Yeah, I'm lonely and I want to continue being alone.
Don't even try reaching out to me unless you got a vagina. As I returned to my first period class, I could hear the other students trying to hold back their laughter. Their inconsistent breathing made it more than obvious what they were thinking. Their eyes behaved like whack-a-mole, darting in and out to get a glance at the freak.
Like, one moment you embrace being a freak and an outcast, and the next second you're complaining about it. I guess that's why he embraces it, because he enjoys complaining about it so much. I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'll continue to say it. You're a moron.
There were only a couple people who didn't seem amused by the fact that my face was half red from having just removed the paint. It was some foreign kid who barely spoke English, and someone who clearly was out of place there as I was, only he didn't show it with his wardrobe. In fact, I barely saw him speak to anyone else since the day I got to that class. The only peace I could find in that class existed between the foreign guy who can't speak and the other kid who just chose not to speak.
Well, walk over there, make some buddies. Invite them to try some of your drunk elephant makeup melting butter cleanser from Sephora. Not a sponsor. But then he wouldn't have anything to complain about,
Coincidentally, those two were also basically the only people that I hadn't yet imagined killing at some point. There's no satisfaction in watching innocent people suffer.
Yeah, except sports fans, apparently. You remember that? Just contradictions abound.
For the sake of keeping myself from losing it on the entire class and making a bigger joke of myself than I already was, I just focused on my bedroom and my plan to lock myself in it for the rest of the day once I got home.
Yeah, gotta meditate, hump the mattress, make some foul soup. These are the things that make my life not meaningless.
Chris was eyeballing me as he walked back into class, but that was short-lived as the bell went off before he could even get to his desk.
Why is any of this even bear mentioning? What the fuck?
At lunch later that day, I was sitting with Ashley and all her friends. I didn't have any friends of my own, so my only real purpose was to serve as Ashley's butt pad for her chair.
Is that something that grants your life meaning? Oh, it's not? Okay, just keep complaining then.
As she sat in my lap, I found myself listening to what I always dreaded hearing. It was the offensively ignorant and clearly unexamined opinions of her brain-dead, preppy friends.
Unexamined opinions, yes. We've heard quite a few of those in this book. Also, I thought Ashley was like slightly goth or had like counterculture views or some shit. Oh no, wait, she has no views of her own. She's essentially just a blow-up doll that has agreed to date OP for whatever reason.
From their views on the president to what other students were wearing that day, I experienced an intense urge to walk around that table and stick a knife in the back of each of their thoughtless little heads. No doubt, introducing a metal blade to the back of their brain would increase their IQs by at least a few points.
Honestly, that theory holds some validity. Why don't you try it on yourself first? A lobotomy would make Arthur so much easier to be around.
It would be difficult for them to decline beyond the intellectual rock-bottom state they were already in.
Uh-huh, and again, takes one to know one.
Ashley was the American poster girl and fit right in with the others. Now me, still drowning in black clothing, created quite the eyesore at the lunch table.
Eyesore? Sounds to me like everybody just ignores the fact that you're there. Like usual.
There was no explanation as to why Ashley was even hanging around this people.
This people. All of this one peoples.
Aside from the likely possibility that she had a lot in common with them.
Well, if she's a blank slate, as you described, I'm not really all that surprised.
With that, it was becoming more than evident to me that Ashley was only with me because she was attracted to my type.
Yeah, right, dude. Preppy girls chasing around the goth kids? What? What universe is this?
Aside from her calling me handsome from time to time and laughing at the observations I made, we seemed to have very little we could relate on.
Didn't you just go on in chapter 2 or 3 about, like, how much you guys related? Oh my god. I hate this, dude. At no point is the tone consistent. We've read for 30 pages, and I can't hang my hat on anything.
I spoke in a low tone to Ashley, asking if we could ditch the group we were in. She ignored me, so I said again, "Let's leave." Ashley, still sitting on my lap, acted like I said nothing at all.
Like I said, everybody's ignoring you. You probably should leave. Like, permanently. Like, this plane of existence.
Finally, I spoke in a normal tone. Ashley, can we ditch your loser idiot friends? They'll stop blabbing about their nonsense views of the world and stared at me.
How are your nonsense views any better than their nonsense views? Rah, rah, sis boom ba, democracy's like a pom-pom. It's all about the spirit of the people. Freedom's a backflip, it takes courage and balance. And justice is a cartwheel, cause everything comes full circle. Go democracy! I'm more on board with what they're saying, honestly. He's just sitting there like,
It has no purpose, I don't even care.
yeah, except when you care deeply. But please, continue.
It was obvious. Ashley prioritized being accepted by her friends over me. Even to this point, she ignored me. I couldn't believe she was still acting like I said nothing. But I wasn't gonna stick around. I was fed up. So I slid her butt into the chair beside me and stormed off.
Yeah, throw a little hissy fit like a real alpha male. The alpha male's been ignored. How will he respond? Pouting in the mirror.
Ashley called after me as I left the cafeteria, and in response, I stuck my middle finger up at her while continuing to walk away.
Little My Immortal reference in there and everything. I'm telling you, dude, it's all coming together.
The rest of lunch I spent sitting in front of the door to my next class.
Oh, come on, you can't even go, like, play magic in the library with the nerdy kids?
I guess you really have been ostracized by everyone. After about an hour of getting home.
After about an hour of getting home? An hour after getting home?
I got a call from Ashley. She wanted to know what she could do to make things better between us. She insisted she didn't mean to ignore me, but how could she not mean to do that? Her actions, or lack thereof, seemed so blatantly intentional.
I mean, they were, because you're being a weirdo. If it's a choice between my friends and this weird kid that I let tag along because I think he's kind of cute, I'm gonna choose my friends every time.
Despite the implausibility of her position, I decided to give her a chance to fix things. A chance, I thought, held no promise. Dress up like you're goth tomorrow, I said into the phone.
Oh my god, yes, I'm totally goth now.
So you've got to read My Immortal all the way through twice. Then you can know the true pain that we goths live in. Ashley was silent for a moment, and then she asked,
"What do I wear?"
I replied, "Wear all black clothes and dark makeup." And she replied,
"Okay."
I didn't believe for a second that she was gonna do it. I was fixed on this idea that she was only into me for one reason, and that an alpha male pulling her away from her pack of cackling turkeys would only make her feel weak.
Wow, we're still going with the alpha male narrative, huh? After being ignored by a group of girls and running out having a hissy fit, sitting by yourself. The levels of delusions are off the chart.
Such an act would contradict her initial interest in me in the first place. Ashley's goal being security, she would show up dressed in her normal attire and give up on the lone wolf I naturally found myself to be.
Yeah, this edgy boy persona, that's all natural. It's not a phase, Mom! Okay, son, sure. We're just gonna have to let this one play out.
As the next day of school began, Ashley stood where she knew I'd see her as I walked in. Her hands were interlocked in front of her thighs. Her butt was slightly perked out. I noticed this because she was wearing black tights.
Hands were interlocked in front of her thigh. Was she bent over? Or she just has the proportions of an orangutan? But cool, yeah, black tights, great.
As her eyes came into view, I could see her purple eyeshadow, plum-colored lipstick, and purple glitter on the black jean jacket she was wearing. And it all totally happened for real. Hey guys, remember that one time I turned a preppy girl into a goth chick? That's my highest achievement.
Wow, how sad for you.
I was overwhelmed by her gesture of loyalty. I never wanted to physically dominate someone more than I had in that moment.
That's because you're missing part of yourself. You don't have control of your own life. You're like, maybe I could control another person. No, that's not how it works. You're just a degenerate.
I quickly walked up to Ashley and heavily kissed her as the other students passed us by. As our lips pulled apart for a moment, I said, "Thank you." She smiled and replied, "Guess I'm yours after all." I laughed under my breath. And we continued kissing till the bell for first period rang.
And remember, the sun's not even up yet.
We hung out whenever we could the rest of the day and spent most of lunch just talking and kissing alone.
Well, probably the most terrible choice that this fictional character could have made, but I don't know, it's no worse than Twilight, is it? No, we're not reading Twilight. Leave me alone.
Some people can still surprise me. It's all part of why I haven't found my place at the end of a rope just yet.
I mean, maybe consider it. I don't know. If life is truly as meaningless as you say, put your money where your mouth is, you know? Do I dare to do one more chapter? I guess I do. If I just do one chapter per video, it's gonna end up like 100 videos, and I'll be damned if I have this psycho on my channel for that long. Truth is, I'm probably gonna do it. Continue reading his books. It's gonna be a 1,000-part series.
And the truth is, I've been damned the entire time, 'cause I'm an alpha male lone wolf.
I can't control the beast inside!
All right.
Chapter 6. Exercise before exercise.
Oh, you're dropping me some real great hints there. Let me guess. You went to PE class and then you banged it out behind the gym building. Amazing, fantastic, super believable.
Ashley and I have been together for a while now.
Yeah, there's no time frame that any of this is happening.
I just didn't write about the first time we slept together, as I just haven't felt compelled to update my journal.
Uh-huh.
It happened a few weeks ago, and since then, many of my views and feelings have been put into question.
Oh, come on, but I didn't thought you had views or feelings or beliefs. It's all facts. It's all based on cold hard facts. Or maybe you're just a moron that doesn't know as much as you think you know.
Being with her was pretty amazing, actually. She's repeatedly proven her loyalty to me, despite most people's better judgment.
Including mine.
I've been very good to her for a while now. It's just, most people see me as a freak, so why would she not follow suit?
Because she sees something inside you. You're just a diamond in the rough. You just need to be polished up a little bit. It's either that or massive daddy issues. I lean towards the latter.
I have too many reasons to believe Ashley's interest in me has reached beyond all my previous expectations. This is just another reminder of how little I know.
Yeah, there was no data or statistics on this. How can I form my opinions if I don't have facts?
The majority of my body and much of my mind is practically a carbon copy of most every other human who shares this planet with me. This growingly evident reality is part of why I'm writing in my journal less. The more I write, the more I realize how generic and pointless my thoughts are.
Hey, there you go. Another thing I can agree with. I had essentially these same thoughts when I was, 13, 14, 15? You read one book by Nietzsche and miss the point of nihilism completely. You're just like,
we're on worm food. It doesn't matter. Sometimes the most intelligent thing you can do is acknowledge you're an idiot.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
Is acknowledged you're an idiot. I love it. It's the perfect sentence.
Ashley said she loved me the first time we slept together. We even stopped using the rubber halfway through. I asked her if she wanted me to remove it, and she nodded silently.
Oh, it was your idea, not hers, which still makes it pretty creepy.
Her decision was especially meaningful, as it was her first time being with anyone. I felt honored that she was willing to be with me.
Yeah, we all make some mistakes, don't we, Ashley? She'll learn in a few years.
The relationship we have, it goes against what I previously thought of human relationships. I believe practically every single relationship was just a product of core programming. Maybe it still is, but I don't think that's how things really are in my case.
Yeah, you're totally different and special than everybody else, aren't you? Despite saying the opposite. How could I even be surprised? In one paragraph, he's like,
I'm totally generic and boring, but let me tell you how I'm totally not, though.
okay, sure, go on, why not? I don't have anything better to do. I didn't need those brain cells anyways. Sometimes the most intelligent thing you can do is acknowledge you're an idiot.
I know that sounds gullible, more than ever really, but this feels so different. Just looking at the words I'm writing down makes me see what a fool I've been.
Does this count as character development? Barely, maybe, not really.
All in all, I don't believe people wouldn't promote the drug of love if it weren't so intoxicating. Now I'm hooked.
Oh yes, I'm sure you'll be together forever. This will never end.
When Ashley and I are intimate with each other, it means something beyond what we're physically doing. We're losing ourselves in each other, pulling closer together as the world is simultaneously pushed away.
Wow, you're a poet and you didn't even know it. Nobody's ever had that thought before. Nobody's ever said anything similar. This thought is not generic and pointless. It's the biggest revelation I've ever had in my life. It's kind of sad, honestly.
We've been physical so many times now. When we part ways, it feels like she hasn't even left. I still feel her warmth, her shaved skin rubbing against mine, her fluids engulfing me as I thrust into her.
Gross, dude. What shaved skin, by the way? Are you talking about the skin on her head? Do you shave her head just like you did with your IRL girlfriend, author?
Jesus, what the
You like it.
Not in this context.
Does anybody remember that insanity? Of course you do. How could you forget? We probably should get into it eventually, but I don't know if I have the strength for anything that isn't fiction at this point.
She's making me feel more human than I thought I ever would.
Yeah, another original thought from our big brain boy here.
It was so strange. We wound up going all the way, only a few hours after my dad left for the night. He was attending some church gathering, probably an orgy, judging by what hypocrites and whack jobs most religious people are, but that's off topic.
Yeah, that's totally what happens at church. It's pretty lit. You should come by sometime. Fulfill that dream of being a power bottom, OP.
I told Ashley to come over shortly after he left, and she did. She knew we were gonna go all the way. It was more than implied on both ends.
It seems really weird to talk about the entire thing beforehand. Usually you're just like in the moment and you're like, hey, could I? And she's like, yeah, sure.
When she got to my house, she was in her tracksuit with the school logo on it. I'm not sure you could possibly wear a more dorky outfit to see your boyfriend. But that's just Ashley.
Oh, Ashley. Sitcom laugh, credits roll. Let's get the hell out of here. It's not over yet. What happened to the goth clothes? I thought that was a thing that we were doing. It's just for the one day. It's just like a little test. That is what I expect a high school relationship to be like, though. We gotta test each other's loyalty to each other, right?
She kept expressing how excited she was that we were going to do stuff together. In fact, she was so hyperactive, she said she had to, and I quote, run around the house a few times before we continued.
I'm starting to suspect that Ashley might be special in some way. Yay, we're gonna do it! Yay! That's really weird.
I felt like she was being really weird.
No, she is being really weird. What the hell is this?
Why would you need to exhaust yourself before you exhaust yourself?
I guess so you could make the worst double entendre possible in this chapter. I guess.
Regardless of my inability to understand, I agreed to wait while she burned off her energy. I mean, either way, I felt incredibly lucky to be able to do that with her. It could wait.
Yeah, it being your boner, I guess. Have you ever interacted with another human being in real life? Because this is not what it's like. Whatever, I don't care anymore. Just bang it out so I can go home.
Once she returned to my room, she got mostly undressed. Mostly. So she was left with only black underwear and a purple tank top. It was kind of funny, as the whole time she was still breathing heavily from running around outside.
Black underwear, purple tank top, yeah, that's totally goth. Look at me, I'm totally goth. I wore the goth underwear that you like.
She went to rest on my twin bed, and I joined her.
God, imagine losing your V-card in a twin bed. At a certain point, just do it on the floor. The couch. The couch is really good. There's a reason there are a lot of couches featured in adult videos. Just trust me.
We went slowly the first time around. I listened to every concern she had, and we progressed at her pace. Oh yeah, such a gentleman. I ripped her away from her friends and isolated her. I'm a total gentleman. The 2 times after, it was a bit more intense, especially after we decided to go unprotected.
I thought you said you were moved it halfway through, so is it halfway through of the 3 times? So like in the middle of the second one, right? That would be 1.5? Who cares? None of this is real.
We moved together. It was incredible being this close to someone I trusted.
I mean, your range of experience isn't that wide. Go get topped by your dad and let me know how it goes. God. Shouldn't have said that out loud. Been reading too many 4chan green texts, I guess.
Now when people talk about making love, they often warn people about the dangers of getting pregnant, pregnant. Well, she's not on birth control or anything, so I guess we're both prepared for the long haul. I don't really care. If she got pregnant, I'd be proud.
Yeah, until the reality of the situation smacks you in the face and you're like, holy shit, I gotta care for another human life for basically the rest of forever? That's a rather large burden, isn't it? He's not even capable of taking care of himself, for God's sake. If there is a God, okay, he will not let this happen. Even in a fictional universe, do not let this happen.
Oh, that is what I'm programmed to be, right? Pride and love are the strings of puppets. We can pretend they don't control us, but anyone who gives their lives a serious look can see. We're not dancing because we chose to. The strings control us all.
That's right, I refuse all accountability. It's not me that chose these things. I'm not ever in control of my own actions. What's it actually like to go through life thinking like this? Quote unquote, thinking like this.
I'm such a fool, and I'm so foolish that it feels like a good thing.
Oh, I am also exhausted. It didn't even take running around the house. This is just taking a whole lot out of me, honestly. Including the last flickering hope for humanity. Yeah, that's not true. I'll turn the mic off and forget about this whole sordid ordeal. Eventually, another week will roll by and I'll be forced to boot this piece of crap up again and be like, okay, let's subject ourselves to another round.
I just can't do it. I can't take this shit no more, man.
But truly nothing in the book can be worse than OP assaulting a special needs girl, right? Because I'm pretty sure that's what just happened. Not to rip on Ashley too hard or anything, but like even by OP's own admission, she doesn't have her own thoughts necessarily. She sort of does whatever she's told. She has to run around the house before she bangs a dude. Like, it's just really weird. I'm just trying to put the pieces together, you know? But indeed, at this point, I'm exhausted. We've reached a good breaking point. So, I hope you've liked the video or commented or done any of those things if you did enjoy it. You could dislike it too. I don't give a fuck. Interaction's interaction, you know? Check out the links in the description, you know, Amazon affiliate, Teespring, Patreon. Thank you to my YouTube members and Patreon patrons as well. Throw some money at me if you get the chance, huh? But if you can't do it, that's cool, man. I just appreciate you coming through, hanging out with me. And always remember that you are loved, you're worthy. You definitely deserve it. And I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye. Go ahead and cut them open. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
Promise, swears he